Hello again, everybody. Welcome back here another episode of Banish the Doubt, and I am George McNamara. In this episode, what I want to talk about is basically people have been asking me and they've been talking to me about they're working on affirmations, working on having a better self-image, um, having some issues with loved ones, family, what have you. So I decided to make this video, and I've talked about this in the past, but I want to talk about it again and end it with a meditation that I think you're really, really going to love and want to implement in your life. So, 95% of who we are by the time we are 35 years of age is a memorized set of, you see behind me here, behaviors, emotional reactions, okay? unconscious habits, unconscious beliefs, assumptions, and perceptions. But how? How did we develop this memorized set? Like, where did it come from? How did we get here? How does the average person get to a point in their life at 35 where they're just operating unconsciously? So let's talk about that, okay? So this is how it starts, okay? So 3T here, that stands for third trimester. So when we were a fetus, third trimester, this is when our brains turned on, okay? And at third trimester, when our brains turned on, we are connected to our mothers through the umbilical cord. So whatever is going on in mom's life, whatever her life was like at that time, that transference of energy was going from mom through the umbilical cord to you and I. Now, if mom, if the life that she was living, if the environment she was living in was one of great emotional, a mastery of her emotions, and understanding that we are, or that at the time, mom is, and everybody here is a spiritual being having a physical or human experience. If mom understood that, how she thinks in each moment, how she talks to herself in each moment is creating this life of hers, that she is the creator of her life. If mom understood that nothing outside of her, external to her, has any influence over how she feels about herself. If all that was true about mom, if mom understood that her relationship with herself is the most important relationship that she could have, and that by extension, she attracted into her life people and a father, a husband, a spouse that felt the same way. If all that was going on in her life, then she was probably 1/10% of the population. The rest of the population, however, not so much. So the environment in which you and I emanated into, the environment when our brains turned on, was one where mom probably didn't have a great handle on her emotional well-being. Probably didn't have the greatest of environments going on. May have been a single mom holding down a couple of jobs. May have been a mom in a relationship there was a lot of toxicity. There was a lot of disharmony, a lot of dysfunction. So we come right into that. But again, we're a fetus at this point, and that energy is being transferred to us. Now, when we are born, okay, age 0, obviously, we are just observing everything going on in our life. So from age 0 to age 2, our brains are in delta phase. Delta is extremely slow. Delta is you or I in the middle of the night in dreamland. We're just observing, okay? Everything is just being funneled into us. You see a little baby at 6 weeks old, a couple of 3 or 4 months old, 6 months old, they're kind of have like a stare going on. But everything is being, the mind, the body, the mind is observing. It's sort of taking everything in, okay? So from age 2 to age 7, the brain is in theta, brainwave state. A little slower, a little quicker than delta, but still very slow. This is where we can start to recall certain things later on in life. I think I was about 4 years old. I think it was about 3. We're not really certain, but we're starting to sort of observe things more so, obviously, right? We're toddlers, we're moving around, but we're observing mom and dad's environment. Maybe there's tons of rules that are being shown to us on how to live. I just dropped my son off at baseball practice, okay? And I overheard one of the coaches coaching or teaching the boys on another team. And one of the coaches said to the boys, I didn't hold a gun to your head, you know. I didn't hold a gun to any of your guys' heads to come here on this team. Now think of the symbolism. Think of the imaging, right? You guys got to pay attention. You got to focus on me. You got very hard, very rough, very in your face. A lot of stress, a lot of testosterone. If mom, her world is full of that stress, if mom's world is in an environment where there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, a lot of stress. What do you need in order to handle with the stress? You need strength, right, to handle that. You got to be rough. You got to be tough. You got to be thick-skinned, right? Now, I want you to just think for a second from age 0 to age 7. What are some of the conversations you heard? What are some of the rules that were sort of being set up in your life around money, around relationships, okay, around how a young boy is supposed to be or a young girl is supposed to be? What are the conversations, if you can recall, the conversations between mom and dad about money? I remember for myself hearing things such as, I'm breaking my back out there. Arguments between my parents regarding money. I'm working my fingers to the bone. Does that sound familiar to any of you? Okay. Money doesn't grow on trees. Does that ring a bell with any of you? So a lot of lack, a lot of limiting beliefs. Again, this is the majority of households where we are brought into this. We were told how to act. We were told in this particular time frame, okay, right here, what our culture is like. We're being enculturated. We're being told a lot of the rules about the family and about society. We're starting to go to school. We're starting to get rules about being in school. So lots and lots and lots and lots of rules. But here's the part that I want to bring up to you folks, that I want to bring out, have you understand this is very, very very vital information. Okay. In this time frame, okay, the brain is our subconscious. Everything is going into our subconscious at this point. Okay? If I were to draw it, it would look like something like this. Okay? The dashes represent the conscious mind. It's not developed. The solid line here, this little like half of a bowl, is the subconscious mind. And what I was just talking about here in this area is all the information that is being put into our brains as that brand new baby through age 7. Everything's being sent into our subconscious mind, sub being beneath the conscious. So the rules, the belief systems, all of that's being formulated, like this computer. It's being downloaded into our brains. So that is the subconscious mind. 96 to 97% of our waking day comes from this subconscious mind thinking. This is why at age 35, we could say it's unconscious. It's subconscious, unconscious. We're not conscious of it because we're operating off of it. We're not living in the moment. So from age 7 then to age 12, we are now in alpha brainwave state. And that SC stands for slow conscious. Our conscious mind here is starting to form. It's not as, the dashes aren't as far apart here. It's starting to form our conscious mind. This is where we start to become conscious of our looks, start to become conscious of other people. This is where we start to become conscious of, and we're really connecting with friends in school and what have you, family. The enculturation's really starting to take hold. The family name. This is where you start getting bullying and things of that nature in school, more prominent, because the children are becoming, you and I are becoming more conscious of this point. And then from 12 years on, and we're in beta, which is what we're in right now, beta brainwave state, conscious. The conscious is just about fully formed. And we're very conscious of everything. This is where we become hyper-focused about our looks, about what other people think of us. Because over here, right, in this area right here, when we were being downloaded, all the information was being downloaded, how were our parents regarding outside? When I mean outside, I mean outside of themselves. What was the thinking? I know for myself, certain people, if I were to take my cell phone towards certain people and I were to put it towards them, make believe or make it look like I'm going to take a photo of them, certain people would freak out. Why? Because they have to fix their hair, they have to get all makeup. A lot of times females, but guys as well, because we're hyper focused about what other people think of us. That's part of the belief system. And when we're worried about what other people think of us, what we think of ourselves is lack. It goes back to this. We have a lack. We have an image of ourselves that's not enough. We have an image of money, a lack of money, lack of having enough. It's also why when we get to this part of our life, out here beyond 12 or 15 or 20 years old, or let's say in our 30s, this is why when we are friends with somebody, and let's say we've been friends with them since young children, we can say to them, hey, Bob, hey, Maria, you're just like and then if you say, this is, mom or dad, they react. Like, stay away from them because they don't want to be told they're like their mom, be told they're like their father. Why? Well, because they don't want to be like that. But that's not who we truly are. We're none of this. You and I are none of this. Your parents as well. It was handed down from generations. This is why I led off by saying, if you were born into a family where mom and dad, but more so mom, because you're attached to her, had the thought process of, I have mastered my emotions. I am enough. I am deserving. I am worthy. I have no concerns with what anybody outside of me feels of me. I am not concerned with anything material. I know that I can manifest whatever it is that I want based off of how I feel about myself. The majority of people were not born into that type of an environment. So this is sort of how we got to that point in our life. So 75 to 90% of people who walk into a healthcare facility go there because of emotional, psychological, or stress disorder. 75 to 90%, basically 4 out of 5 people who go in there go in for that reason. We just established that. Okay? So, how then do we deal with this, or how do we overcome this, right? Some of you are thinking like, well, this is a great history lesson, but how does it affect, how do I deal with this now? First thing to understand is, like I just mentioned, you are not that. Who you are has nothing to do with that. Who you are, who peers out to the world from behind your eyes, is this. If you can even see that. I'm not even sure if you can see that. I'll make it a little bit larger. Okay? But here, outside of here, is potential. This little part here is what we focus on. Because this out here, all this space, I'm not going to draw a circle because it's large. I want you to just understand all this is 99.9999999% nothing. Pure potential. This here, this little dot, represents 0.0000001% matter. This dot represents matter. This out here is pure potential. So everything outside of us, who we are, where we've emanated from, is pure potential. It exists in that field. That's the field that we emanated from. That's where we came from. But we're taught, right, from those who came before us, from society, that 0.0000001% matter is what we should focus on. This is how we deal with this. We recognize in each moment how I've talked to myself, how I act, how I feel about myself in any moment is connecting to this field. We're sending out an electric image, if you will, and the field then receives that image and then sends that image back to us, because Potential is everywhere in the field. Anything you can think about, you could desire, already exists in the field. It's like placing an order. So when we become silent and when we think about what we're thinking about as far as talking to ourselves, and we understand that our lives are every single moment of this life is our reality, is right now. There is no such thing as yesterday. There is no such thing as tomorrow. There's only right now. Everything is happening right now. And I'm placing my order about myself right here and right now in this moment. And I know when I place the order, the field is going to say, okay, let's bring him that order. But we're hyper focused on that 0.00001%. And for many, like I started with this video, say, well, I don't see anything in my physical world. But we start to understand the words we use. I don't. I've been doing this for the field doesn't understand time. Time is right now. So when you say things like to the outside world, it's not happening, or I've been doing this for however, you're creating that right now in this moment. You are creating that now moment that I've been doing this for however long and it's not happening. This is why the Bible talks about the faith of a mustard seed can move a mountain. The mountain is that 0.00001% of matter of what we focus on. That is what we're talking about as far as the mountain. That 96 to 97% of who we are that controls our thinking. That's the mountain. So I want to leave you with this meditation, like I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the video. So think of this, and maybe you want to write this down. It comes from the book, 3 Magic Words. It's after the first chapter. You may want to pick up the book. It's a phenomenal book. It says this: I know that I am pure spirit, that I have always been, and that I always will be. There is inside of me a place of confidence and quietness and security where all things are known and understood. That's the field. This is the universal mind, God, of which I am a part, and which responds to me as I ask of it, the field. This universal mind knows the answer to all of my problems, and even now, the answers are speeding their way to me. I didn't struggle for them. I didn't worry or strive for them. When the time comes, the answers will be there. I give my problems to the great mind of God, or the field, source energy, universal consciousness. I let go of them, confident that the correct answers will return to me when they are needed. Through the great law of attraction, everything in life that I need for my work and fulfillment will come to me. It is not necessary that I strain about this, only believe. For in the strength of my belief, my faith will make it so. I see the hand of divine intelligence all about me, in the flower, the tree, the brook, and the meadow. I know that the intelligence that created all these things is in me and around me, and that I can call upon it for my slightest need, the field. I know that my body is a manifestation of pure spirit, and that spirit is perfect. Therefore, my body is perfect also. I enjoy life, for each day brings a constant demonstration of the power and wonder of the universe and myself. I am confident, I am serene, I am sure, no matter what obstacle or undesirable circumstance that matter there crosses my path, I refuse to accept it, for it is nothing but illusion. There can be no obstacle or undesirable circumstance to the mind of God, spirit, source energy, universal intelligence, the field, because it is in me, it is around me, and it serves me now. So that is a little bit of a history as to like how we got to where we're at, who we truly are, and the mindset that circumvents it all. Stick with this. Always remind yourself of who you truly are and where you came from. You stick with this, and there is nothing in this world you cannot manifest. Have a great day.